So I will solve this one.
That's right. That'll solve that problem. You know, it's like motel. We'll leave the light on for you.
No, not this one. Not this time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, my brother. And to the right there, my big brother. The doctor is in the house here giving you a checkup from the neck up. Good morning, Dr. Bradley.
And it ain't all healthy, brother.
It ain't all healthy.
No, it ain't all healthy. But good morning.
Good morning, sir. We're going to introduce our guest in one moment. And Pastor Hobbs is over there. He has some comments from our last segment he wanted to get in there.
Give me this
Go ahead. Go ahead. While he's doing that, we want to thank our sponsor, the Money Store, for all your mortgage needs. Give branch manager or Holbrook a call at area code 508-345-4726. That's 508-345-4726. You're probably going to need to get in touch with her with these taxes going up.
You sure?
Refinance. Hopefully.
And get a little bit more money.
So Danny Santana said absolutely correct. They don't believe that they are working for the taxpayers.
Yeah.
Minister Flint says we make them accountable by voting them out.
Yeah. But she just said everyone got reelected, right? In all this situation, the only person that was a new city councilor is because it was an open seat. Everyone else was reelected. So when are we going to start voting them out? That's,
When we're going to start voting.
That's the
real
biggest
deal.
Right. So is that it?
And that's all. And then
Okay.
Danny Santana says that's
No.
crazy. 6 schools are closed.
Yes, right. And we're increasing the budget and decreasing. So right there should be some savings, right? If we're closing schools, we should be able to go in there and say, wait a minute. No, not only are we not closing them, we're increasing the budget for the schools, $200 million for buses that are empty. It just makes no sense. I mean, you would not be able to run your household like this, and then they're saying, you know what? We want to put rent control in, so you want to control what homeowners can do with their property and that how they can manage, but yet you won't implement the same. It's the ultimate hypocrisy.
Well, like I said, why don't people just kind of figure a way of just incorporating themselves and getting the tax savings that the businesses are getting and stop being taxed as
I'm going to
individuals?
turn my properties up and say,
LLCs, turn them into
a skyscraper. I'm put a little
like I said,
antenna on the top.
you just change the name. You don't have to make it a skyscraper, but change it.
This isn't a house, this is a skyscraper, and I want my property value to decrease, and so I can get a 6% deduction. I mean, that's just crazy. People that are making money,
making money.
even if they have a percentage of the building vacant, they are still
selling. And it's also a tax write-off for the empty parts of the building. They can be like, okay, these are losses that their accountants can clearly write off. So again,
So folks, you're listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO. We're happy and honored to have in studio with us a brother from another. He even got a haircut so he could fit in.
That's right.
He's just missing the hat today.
Well, Eric, he's braver than we are.
He sure is. Well, he's got a heated jacket.
That's true.
So you got a heater in your jacket? No, it's just heated.
After hearing this conversation,
Eric Kennedy, Eric and I go back. We went to high school together. I've known him for quite a while. He's had a very interesting journey in life. He's going to talk a little bit about that, but what he's done was most people won't do, and I'm waiting for Dr. Bradley's book to come out.
I am too. My wife she was like, 10 years? You haven't done anything
right.
yet? I'm researching, dog. I'm researching.
Okay.
Come on, brother.
Come on now.
You can start with something.
Right, yeah. We'll
just give a little taste.
Rhodes and I will do the forward. So his first
After that dissertation, brother, you don't want to do anything else.
That's why I don't do it, man. I'm all set. That's a lot of work. I commend anyone to get the PhD because I'm all set. So Eric has written 2 books here. The first one was The Unmasking, which I've read. Very good book. Talks about his life story and how he got
living a life of transparency.
Yeah,
Taking off the mask.
I like that. Maybe you should sign these and give them to all our elected officials.
Please.
So, folks, if you're watching on here, this is Eric's first book, and that's his baby picture on the back. And his newest book, Hidden Hatred. Now, I have not yet had an opportunity to look at this. He's going to talk about both of them by Eric Kennedy. Let's go backwards, right? Let's start with the latest book. So I'm going to say your second, Hidden Hatred, Shadows of Prejudice, right? First of all,
that's interesting.
Yeah, for folks who don't know Eric Kennedy, why don't you give folks a little bio on who you are. I know you've actually been a broadcaster here as well.
Yeah, and
engineered some of
I'm
our.
actually hoping to come back soon.
Okay.
Meeting with a potential sponsor next week.
Okay.
And if all goes well, I will definitely be back.
All right.
Do miss it, and everybody's been asking me where
Yeah.
I've been. So
Yeah, you've got a lot to offer people, a lot of wisdom. So give folks a little background on.
I was born and raised here in Boston, a product of the foster care system, due to having like most dysfunctional family, drugs, alcohol, and different things like that. And gone through some really traumatic things as a child, abused, and got into a foster home when I was 6, and I was lucky enough to get into a home that was stable, and only been in one foster home. Actually, I was in 2. I was in an emergency foster home when I was about 5. My sister's husband killed somebody in front of me. And then came and birthed me with a gun on my shoulder and said, "If you tell anybody, I'm going to shoot you again."
At 6 years old.
At 5.
5.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I still have the mark on my shoulder where he birthed me with the
heat of the gun.
Yeah.
Like you just shot.
And so that was at 5. So I went to an emergency foster home that weekend after I went to the hospital. And then that Monday, I got separated from my sister and put into another foster home. And then the emergency foster home kept her. And so that was the impetus of the separation of my biological family. So for me, I pretty much grew up an only child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And did you grow up in Boston area? Or
Yeah, I grew up in Boston. It was tough because, again, that was one death at an early age. And then literally 3 months after I got to my foster home, my foster father died of cancer. So I started creating this core belief that if I got close to anyone, they would die. And that affected me probably until I was into my 30s. And when I started to get close to people, I would do what I now call relationship suicide. I would do something to end that relationship because in my mind, I thought I was saving them.
Wow.
Wow. That is wow. That's powerful.
And how old were you when you started to exhibit that behavior of this really self-defense?
It was literally right after my best friend Darius died, and we talked about this last time. Remember the
How old were you at that time?
11?
11 years old, and you're already disassociating yourself. Right. You've already decided that you're going to put this wall up so that you think you're saving other people. You're not hurting yourself by establishing a relationship that you feel will not be healthy or...
Well, I didn't know if it would be healthy or not. I just know that in my mind, I'm just like, okay, if they get close, like, again, 11 years old, another one of my friends passed away. Well, he got killed by his mother, and you probably know the story, the Boston police officer that shot her son by accident.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and her son was really good friends.
Wow.
And so...
You've had a lot of trauma.
Yeah. And so that was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And I really just withdrawn and just really came with this attitude. Yeah, I can't.
And then, so while you're in foster, did anyone ever say, okay, you need to go to therapy, you need to go to a counselor, or anything like that?
I did, and anyone that knows me when I was younger will tell you that I was way older in my mind than I was in age. In fact, when I went to South Boston High, I was only 12. And Larry will tell you, I wasn't big. I was scrawny.
Yeah.
I was so small.
Yeah.
And
quiet. You were very quiet, reserved. I know that about, that's one of the things you notice about the kids and that are real quiet. They're not with the...
They're not engaging.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
No. But, I did go to counseling, but I was wise enough to know that they didn't know me, and they were just asking questions that I found, even at a young age, that it was a waste of my time.
It was one of the things I found when I deal with counselors, or when I've dealt with counselors in the past, if they're not someone of the same skin color, a lot of times they're going they don't know how to counsel you.
Right.
You know, they don't really know the
Mhm.
depth of the pain that you're feeling, and they just kind of like brush it over. And sometimes they'll even apologize to you, and instead of the therapy session being there for you, it turns into a therapy
Right.
session for them. I'm like,
Exactly.
yo, hey, who's counseling who? It's crazy. So.
Right.
And then when I was 9, I found out that I had a congenital insensitivity to pain, which is called SEEP, but there's the whole version of that. It's called SEPA. And the A is anadrosis, which means that you have the inability to sweat. So right now I'm going through a lot of health issues, and I've had, I spent a lot of time since I was 9 and going into hospitals because I would injure myself and not know it. I had to learn what hot and cold was.
Wow.
So I'm dealing with that right now with stenosis of the spine. And because I don't feel pain, it's pressuring my nerves so badly that a couple of months ago, was last month or so, the whole left side of my body went numb. And I had to go to the hospital. But that was my body saying, hey, we need to get this checked out because I'm not feeling the pain.
So when you say you're not feeling the pain, how do you know that there's something wrong when you have that disease?
You really don't. Like the other day I was cooking in there, and I literally cut my hand. It wasn't until someone says, Eric, you're bleeding. Like I noticed it. Like, and it's funny because when I was younger, Sensei Scott, I was actually in his karate class when I was younger, and I was told that I had to get out of karate class because of what I had.
Right. One of the other times when I met you, we reconnected, was you were involved in the Boston Police Explorers program, and I heard you talk very favorably about that. And one of my mentors, Charlie Dickerson, and also Suzanne James, which the Explorer program was was for younger people. It wasn't the cadet program. People confused.
It was before the cadets.
Right. How did you get involved in that, and how did that impact your life?
So I was 12 when I got involved in that, and I had just got my Eagle Scouts thing. So I was already involved in the Boy Scouts, and then the next progression after Eagle Scouts would be the Explorer program. And then there's different types of Explorer program, and I decided to join the law enforcement Explorer. So I went down, I found out that B2 had one, B3 had one, C4 had one, and then E13 had one. So I went down to B2 because I was closest to my house, and that's where I met Charlie Dickerson, Sherman Brown, Lisa Holmes, and Suzanne James, and got involved in that and succeeded to move up in ranks within that, because there's the Explorer Officers Association, which is over the whole eastern region of Explorer programs, and I ended up becoming the president of the EOA at 13.
What is the EOA?
EOA is the Explorers Officers Association.
Okay.
And so I became the president of that at the age of 13. And at the age of 16, I ended up bringing the Explorer Conference, the regional conference, to Boston with the help of Superintendent Celeste.
Billy Celeste.
And he helped me, and then a bunch of other people was on my side back then.
617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. Listening at that round table with MAMLEO. In studio, our guest, Eric Kennedy, friend, brother, confidant, author, jack of all trades. He's sharing his life's experience, because I think sometimes people see us where we are and don't understand our journey, right? How we got here. And to me, that is the most important part, because I think more people can relate to that than where we are. Like, Dr. Bradley and I were in law enforcement. People somehow feel like, okay, you just grew up and became a police officer, and there was no impediments along the way, and there's still impediments even when you get here. So if you have any comments or questions for Eric, give us a call, 617-282-0685, 617-282-0685. See, I know my brother, Dr. Bradley, I was watching his facial expressions over there, so I know he has got something on his mind over there that he wants to.
Well, one of the things that that hitting me when I listen to you talk, I can understand the link between death and friendship that you have. My question would be, how did you come to grip with that? At what point did you realize that, and did you reach out to anyone to say, I'm feeling this, and can you help me? Or how did that work out?
So again, girlfriends, relationships, just friendships and stuff. Like I said, when they got really close, I would just end them. I think I was in my late 30s when I really started to realize that this is ridiculous, And it wasn't really me seeking. When I went into college, I took up psychology and sociology, not because I wanted to go into that field, but I wanted to better understand
Okay.
me.
Okay.
And so I took what I learned there, and I see people who were in my class, because they would get mad at me because the class was already 90 minutes long, but I'm going back and forth with the professor because I'm just like, well, that doesn't make any sense. They're book professors. That doesn't apply to me. That doesn't. You can't put that on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so the class would end up going over, and everybody's like, Eric, just agree with him. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
We want to get out of here. We want to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so it was a number of people. It was, again, talking with Charlie Dickerson and, a lot of the guys down at the, station, Eric Eckersley. So,
Eversley,
Yeah, and the guys at MAMLEO, because Charlie would have me, raking the leaves and everything else over at MAMLEO. So I was involved in MAMLEO since I was a teenager. So
same here.
It's always been a pleasant, interaction. No matter where I was. When I was 16, I joined the Guardian Angels, and so that within itself was an amazing road, to do.
Now you've also had some encounters on the other side, right? And Dr. Bradley doesn't even know this, right? Because when you were incarcerated, you would write letters to the station, and when Dr. Bradley or I started on the AM,
it was you and.
He was from the people that was writing and listening to the station to us, listening to our broadcasts from behind the wall.
Wow!
He was one of the people who picked up on it.
I would write in, and then you guys would write back, and that was the thing that really excited me, is just to get that letter back from you guys, and know that my voice is being heard.
So have you, the people that you've shunned from you in the past, have you tried to reach back out to them and reestablish the relationship?
So I'm starting to rekindle a relationship with my biological family. And 2019 was a tough year for me as well, because my biological mom passed away, and then a week after that my adopted mom passed away.
So your biological, had you reconnected with her prior to her depart? No.
And so both of them passed away a week apart and a week from Christmas. In 2019. And I didn't find out about my mother, my biological mother, because someone reached out to me and said, hey, just calling to let you know Mom died, but we're trying to find a way to pay for her services.
Wow.
So that's how they reached out.
Man.
Yeah,
Wow.
Can you go into that? Because I think a lot of people experience. I grew up without my dad, and he was not involved in my life. And when he passed, I got a call that he had passed. And I struggled with that, knowing that this was my biological father, but someone I didn't have a connection with, whether or not to even go to the service. And then what emotion do I show?
Right.
Because, I didn't even, you don't even, you get bereavement from the police department if a family member passes away. And normally what that does is they send out a notice, and it triggers a response from your colleagues out of respect for you to come and pay. I didn't do that because I felt like this was someone I didn't know, and that my colleagues and stuff would be coming to support me from someone that I didn't know.
Yeah.
It would just be
it would have the opposite effect.
Right.
I had the same thing. I think I met my dad when I was 13, and I went to go visit him because I heard he had lung cancer. And so I found out where he lived, went to go visit him, got upstairs, he opened the door. Hey, son, how you doing? Can I borrow $20?
Oh, we must have the same father.
and so I turned around and went back down the stairs, and that was it. And then I found out, months later that he passed away, and my sister calls me, hey, And I go, oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. No.
And she got mad at me
Wow.
because I wasn't more emotional about it. I was like, how do I get emotional about somebody that I didn't know?
No, I
That's like someone telling me a celebrity died. I'm sorry that they died, but there's no emotion here. I didn't know them.
No, my dad came to one of the properties I owned. He found out and he was homeless, and he came basically demanding that I take him in. And I was like, I don't know, you could be any stranger. I knew who he was,
Right.
but that's why I'm asking, because I think there's a lot of us that go through that in their emotions, and we're like, well, it's your biological parent. There
Right.
should be some connection, but they haven't acted in that role, and somehow they feel like they're entitled to certain things from you.
And when my mother passed, there was emotion, but it wasn't the emotion that most would think I would feel. It was more like anger.
Yeah. Wow.
How dare you die without giving me answers?
Wow.
So that kind of sets the backdrop for the book. So because I'm interested, I'm reading the titles. I'm saying these are interesting titles. So what is the story behind the title? Because when I look at Hidden Hatred, I'm just like, okay, that's a very pronounced title. So what's the story behind that?
So it's my first fictional book. So it's
Okay.
a fictional story. And when I wrote this book, I actually dreamt the last paragraph. I dreamt the scene in that book, and then I wrote it backwards. So I wrote the book around the last scene of the book. And the best way to describe it is, have you ever seen a court case where someone kills somebody and then and it's for some reason it's always a black family that forgives the person that did the killing? So this story here talks about two young kids who were born on the same day, same thing, but in different parts of the country. And one's white, one's black, one's really wealthy, the other's middle class, and the two boys come together in the same town a town in Georgia where there's never been any black people. And so the father of the white kid is secretly racist. His parents, brought him up that way, but he didn't really want to put that off on his wife and kids, so he kept that from them. But when this black family moves into their town, all those rebuttal voices of his father comes back, and stuff like that. And things happen in the book where something happens, and then you'll just have to get the book.
I got it.
So the second
Hidden
book is
Hatred.
a fictional. So before we get to the other book, because how does one just decide, I'm going to write a book, right? I know, because I remember being with Dr. Bradley numerous times when he was just working on getting his PhD and all that he had to write. And I'm like, he basically wrote a book because his thesis and all that.
Yeah, I remember we were in Montenegro.
That's
He was
right,
like, you wrote all that?
Right, exactly.
I was like,
I'll never get a PhD. Not even in Canada.
I've actually helped my sister do hers.
Yeah.
So how do you start the concept? I mean, you have the ideas, but a lot of people
I've always
get
been
it
a
on
writer
paper.
because that was my way of being able to put my feelings, because it's weird because I'm considered an empath, but a lot of people say you show no emotions, but I feel other people's emotions.
Well, your letters that you sent, like I said, Dr. Bradley, we were reading them on air,
Right.
and they were some of the best letters that
We
and
read.
Pastor Hobbs would share with
Right.
us at first, and I was almost surprised that people from behind the walls, this was just MAMLEO law enforcement, and then people were writing letters, and interacting
Right.
and listening to our show while they're incarcerated. That just,
Right.
first of all, just blew me away. But then when I made the connection, like, Eric Kennedy, I know Eric. We
Right.
went to school together.
And so I've always written they try to get me to write a journal. I'm like, journals are for girls, like diaries. So it's like,
That's our guess.
So then they said, okay, it's all about words. I'm a word guy, so it's all about the wordplay. So they said, okay, let's not write a journal. Let's write letters to myself. So that's what I called them, letters to myself.
Letters to myself.
And I have letters from way back when, and eventually some of those letters will be in the book.
So did you find writing the book to be therapeutic from your journey and a lot of the things that you went through, being able to put that And I know this one is fictional, but
right.
the first one,
the first one, unmasking, yes, very, very therapeutic, and I also do speaking engagements. So when I talk about, and even like now, when I'm talking about everything I've gone through, it's a healing process.
Okay.
So each time I talk about it, it's healing.
Because we had a guest on a few weeks ago, and he was talking about, because I'm not putting a business out there, and he was talking about his journey. He's gone through a lot, and he had a relapse. And
Danny,
right?
Yeah.
So a lot of what happens, and this is why I appreciate you coming on, because there are a lot of people who are going through this and feel like they're the only one, that this is something that they're only going through. And times like this, it can help others.
And I've only scratched the surface, my brother.
Wow.
Like, I have not talked about being molested. The 4 times I tried to commit suicide. So there's a lot more there, but
So I mean,
we only have an hour.
I appreciate. No, we'll have to make a segment, but I appreciate your openness and your honesty and your forthright coming out, because again, there are people who are struggling with these things, right, and may want to cause harm to themselves, not thinking that, because a lot of times we tend to blame ourselves, right? Because especially at that age. My dad was not there, but my mom was there, so that was kind of a counterbalance, right? To have neither one of your parents, because a lot of times we tend to blame it on us. It must be something that we did, because rejection, and it's you started rejecting people in your life because you felt like anyone close to you would leave, and then this void would be there. How do you talk to someone who may be listening that's going through that and saying the steps to get help? Because we're not.
First of all, you don't talk, you listen.
Okay.
That's it. Anyone that's going through whatever have gone through, or even more, just looking for someone to hear them. Not just listen to them, because you can listen but not hear. They need you to hear them.
No.
And that's very important.
So it sounds like, too, like when you were in that class with that professor, you felt you weren't being heard, so you weren't going to be silenced, and you were going to continue to project that. So.
And again, it's going back to the other students that were in there, was just accepting what he was delivering.
Yeah.
And that's what our society is doing now. They're just accepting what's being told to us. They're accepting what's being given to us, and not giving that pushback.
No, because I was going to say they don't teach critical thinking anymore. The emphasis on education in this country is memorization. So they want factory workers. They don't want critical thinkers.
Well, that depends on the professor.
Doctor?
Yeah, that depends on the professor, because I have found that the professors who are teaching not only have the education, but also have the experience in the subject matter that they're teaching, tend to be much more profound in how they're actually delivering their subject matter.
But I think you are a different breed, Dr. Bradley. You correct me if I'm wrong, because you've lived on both sides of the track. And what I mean by that is you came up without all of this technology, and then new people coming in today, they haven't experienced life in the same way. They almost live in a silo, right? Than some of the younger professors or teachers, because they grew up, they don't know anything other than a cell phone or the technology. Where we grew up, we went in the store and there was a cash register and there was, all these different things. So we had to pivot.
Well, absolutely. But I have found in my situation as a teacher, as a professor, oftentimes when a student asks me a question, I have to revert back to my experience, not my academic achievement, but my experience, my life experience as a police officer to answer the question. Because what they ask is not in the book.
Right.
Or the guy who authored the book didn't even think about it.
Right.
And in some cases, I may be, using the book as a way to guide my lecture, but I would say to them, well, this particular theory, this is not exactly what it would look like in policing.
Right.
This is what it would look like. So and it's only a piece of the theory that's been operationalized. So
interesting.
It really depends on, and I found that having the experience, which is why I tend to limit my teaching to what I lived, and so as I'm writing, my book is on how to implement community policing in a large police force.
Okay.
And so that book is talking about every component of policing, from the janitor to the commissioner, should be community policing oriented.
This is why you should write a book. Let's grab this comment and get back to our guest.
Sister Michelle said, "Good morning, Brother E. Wow, your journey has been something. you've been through so much. By the grace of God, you're still standing. She said, I like that. You listen.
Your response?
Yeah, thank you, Sister Michelle. And it has been a long journey, and I'm still going through it. You know, it's not over yet. I'm not completely over letting people close, but just know that if you have been let in, you're stuck with me.
So, what is your response to what Dr. Bradley was talking? Which, like I said, he is someone who was in front of young minds and some older minds, but a lot of young minds. To what he had said in his approach to teaching, do you find that if you had professors or people in your life with that type of lifestyle, because a lot of times now it's people are doing it because it's a job but not a calling in a sense. I'm not saying you have to be a fanatic about it, but they don't come at it the same way that Dr. Bradley does.
Exactly, when we grew up, when the teachers weren't really interested in learning about us enough to know how we learn, and so I pretty much learned on my own. Like I took what I had, and just learned on my own, because there was like, that person can learn this way, but everybody learns differently.
Well, let's talk about that too, because on top of everything else you had to go through, I went through forced busing as well as you, but I didn't have a lot of the other things that you were dealing with, the foster home. So how did you navigate, because that was traumatic in itself, being as young as we were, on top of everything else? How did you get through that?
I think it was that one fight I had, and everybody's like, okay, it's always the quiet ones, and so it's just like no one. They're like, we're staying away from him.
Okay.
And it was guys like you that had my back in school, but it was because like you said, it was quiet. People are afraid of the quiet ones. So, and I didn't do it on purpose.
Right. What would you tell a young? We're going to grab this call. So what would you tell a young Eric Kennedy, who, knowing all that you know now, that might be going through this? How would you approach that?
They're all lies.
They're all lies.
They're all lies. Wow. Don't listen to them. Because you get those, we talked about schemas, core beliefs, and then you have the schemas. You're not good enough. You'll never be good enough. They're all lies. And just surround yourself with people who are going to empty out that negative and pour into positive. And I was so blessed to have all of you guys. And believe it or not, do you remember Dunn? Billy Dunn?
Billy Dunn, yeah.
Another, being a white officer, he had a very strong impact on my life as well.
Big Bill.
Billy and Richie Harrington.
Yeah. And so I would tell myself to, and I tell myself this still, but my younger self, I'd be like, hang in there. It's just one more day, one more hour. Just hang in there.
Okay.
All I will say is, like, you definitely have been blessed by God, because for all the trauma that you've been through, and you're still here, and the way that you're able to speak, the way you're able to process it, and in the books that you've written to help you process it, you're here. You have a mission. You have a purpose on this planet.
And being a Christian and stuff like that, it's still tough to know.
Yeah.
And a new Christian, I still consider myself.
We're going to grab this
Christian.
call, but after that, we're going to find out and keep this in the back. How did the church help you? Or did it help you? Because a lot of people have moved away from that. But we're going to grab this call, and when we come back with it. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable.
It's me again.
Oh, how are you, me?
I just want to congratulate Eric on his second book. And I just want to say to him that, you keep doing what you're doing. You are inspiration to many, and I appreciate you. I appreciate all the work that you do.
Well, Priscilla, let me just say, you are quite an inspiration
Absolutely.
yourself. You are.
Yes.
Priscilla is one of the broadcasters here as well. People Power Priscilla heard every Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. and she kindly sometimes lets me come in and co-host with her. But she also is an author. I look back and wonder how I got over, right? And the irony is, I'm sure she's probably seeing a lot of parallels with your book and her book and her journey. And that's why I said there's a lot of hurt. And you said a lot of times hurt people, right? And that you guys are trying to you guys have grown up and projected that in a positive way. You know, like what Priscilla does. If you read her book, you would not say, "Wow, she would be working with kids and this activist." Just the total opposite of her. And she tells it's a tell-all book.
Yeah. And Priscilla, I appreciate you calling in, and I appreciate you so much for being an inspiration to me, and just allowing me into your life as well.
Yeah. We had some good times together working with BG, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I just wanted to say that I just, because I appreciate you. I tell you, I'm still trying to get my second one out, but maybe 2026 will be the year. But,
Absolutely.
All right.
I appreciate you, and I just want you to, continue doing what you're doing, because you are an inspiration to many.
Well, we have a title for your I look back and wonder how I got over and over and over. We'll have to change too much there.
Priscilla, the best way to finish the best way to finish that second book is to start it.
Wow.
I know.
You want to say
the title
I hear
is
that.
The Real City Hall.
City Hall.
What's Michelle Wu standing up?
Right. Well, the real
Michelle Wu standing up.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you, Priscilla. Appreciate it. All right.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So, Eric, because I know when I met you as well, I know you spent a lot of time here at the church. I know Pastor Wall, Pastor Hobbs, and others here, the church family. Has that helped you a lot during this journey?
It has, but it took me a long time to really want to reach back out to the church, because I had, a bad experience with a church.
Okay.
And so I would say I went away from the church, but not away from God.
Well, a lot of people say they didn't leave the church left them. Right. And a lot of people are so disconnected. I know myself, I was turned off from the church, not because of any physical abuse or anything, but just the homage and the patronage to the individual.
Right.
That, like this was some spiritual leader that needed a Cadillac and all this other trappings and stuff, and I just couldn't buy into that. Right. When I'm thinking I'm helping to contribute to a building fund or to feed people, and all the money's going out the back door.
Right.
Well, I think one of the things that, being a man of God, I have to comment on this, because I think a lot of people at church hurt. But I think one of the things that people must keep in mind when they're going to church is do not be overwhelmed with the religion, but the relationship. I think a lot of people don't separate the two. They get into the religion, which is the protocol and all the things that you need to do. Everybody stand up and say, blessed and highly favored, all those different things. But it's really about the relationship. And when you get into the relationship, you realize that man is man, and man's going to do things that man does, and it may not be consistent with your relationship with God, your values, or your morals. And so I would not, and that's why I always argue to the younger folks. Listen, church is valuable, but don't lose sight of the relationship. Yes, we should come together. We should fellowship. We should do all those things that our ancestors did. That's in fact, that's how they got over. Yeah. Can you think about the fact that our ancestors was in the fields picking cotton, singing hymns and singing songs to get them over. Right. But what they had in that cotton field, a relationship. Right. So that's what we have to not lose sight of.
And that's one of the things that I remembered about Pastor Wall and this church is that before I was in and I was still out, when I was trying to find a home for the Guardian Angels, Pastor Wall reached out and said, hey, we can use our church. And so I was just like, wow. And then, coming in here after I was out, having created a 5-year relationship while I was inside with the church, and then coming out and coming straight to the church, and just seeing that they are the same people that I thought they would be when they were writing. And the fact that it's a come as you are, no frills type of church, and the acceptance. And Pastor Hobbs and Pastor Wall will both tell you, my mind is like no other, and I think so differently than most people. And that really would either scare some people or turn people away. Whereas for them, they took it as a challenge and like, okay, we're going to learn you.
Right. Well, I'm going to put him on the spot because I don't think he gets enough credit. Is Pastor Hobbs. No, I mean, really, a lot of his broadcasts when he would come in doing his overnight were people who were behind the walls. And he has never forgot those folks, right? That's where Dr. Bradley, not even knowing that, we reconnected with you amongst the letters. He would pass them along to us, and helping us to understand that even though we might have been on opposing teams in a sense, right, that we could still come together, and he was that bridge to help us to have a better understanding of people there, because we know that 95 to 98% of the people that are arrested are coming out, right? And if we don't work together with them, right, it really doesn't benefit anyone for them to be repeat offenders, and
can I just say that, having a relationship with the law enforcement at such a young age, I never thought of it as opposing sides, even when I was inside. They did their job, you did your job, I did what I did, and that's how that goes. That's how it's supposed to go. So it was never any animosity towards any type of law enforcement or any, the COs or anything like that. In fact, when I was upstate, probably a week before I was about to be released, one of the superintendents go, "Are you new here?" I go, "No, I've been here for 2.5 years." He goes, "Oh, okay, well." He goes, "I can tell you won't be back."
Right. So, Eric, I want to get into a little bit of...
No, because I was going to say that in regards to the fact that you did have a positive view of law enforcement before going in there, and you had respect, and that I think helped as well in the sense of like the fact that you said you understood what you did, you took accountability for your actions, and a lot of times people don't do that, and although they're there, they're still blaming everyone on the outside.
It's easier to blame than to take responsibility.
So it's like you taking responsibility is a big step.
That's a pathway. Pastor Hobbs, you get to go.
Yeah, some more comments. Danny Santana saying, I enjoy listening to this brother speak. Eric has always been a great source of inspiration. Yes, sir, I'll be publishing my book also this year. He's also an aspiration to many. Yes, AA, we have a saying, religion is for those who are afraid to go to hell, while spirituality is for those who have already been through hell. It's not about religion, it's about spirituality, being connected to a higher power. And Sister Michelle, she is tuned in and she's saying, try GMCC, Detective Ellison. She says, we will welcome you and your family. And she said, get your flowers, Pastor Hobbs.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree. And really, this is kind of my by default church, it's one of the churches I support behind the scenes, and I am going to try to get back into a physical building, but because I understand it's a huge commitment, and because I don't live close, I'm here on Saturday. Like when I was working, it was like I was in Boston 7 days a week, and I just needed a break from coming in the city. Actually, I enjoy coming in when I have to, not to say enjoy because it has its trials, but definitely thank you for the, and also Danny, thank you for when you came on and gave us an update and you were talking about some of the struggles that you've had recently. I think that's therapeutic. I think it's, Dr. Bradley, because you and I both, world's not leaving them out, but we've been in law enforcement, and if someone had told me that we would be having conversations with people who have had some issues in this way, in a meaningful way, in a spiritual dialogue, I'd have told them they lost their mind. They would be writing letters to us early in our time here.
Well, someone was told me that we would be having a platform like this where we're talking about these things and then talking about law enforcement. I would say, you're out of your coconut. You know what I mean? But the fact that this young brother, I remember the letters vividly, you know what I'm saying? Well, first of all, they're well structured. That's what I'm saying to myself. You know what I mean?
As a professor, he's going like, these are grammatically correct. This one deserves an A.
First thing first.
Is that correcting it?
And it's crazy. He still has the letters.
Well, because they're all stamped and it tells you that something in here we haven't screened these.
But my real hit is that that he took the time out behind the wall to listen to the broadcast and then reach out to say, okay, these are the things. Because one of the things that I learned as interacting with him behind the wall was, number one, is that people were in jail and did not have access to vote.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm thinking like, well, this is jail, not prison. Right. This is jail.
So you have not been convicted.
You have not been convicted.
Right,
so your rights are still there. So I was assuming that those that the sheriff or the administrators of the institution was providing the rights to vote or opportunity to vote.
Right.
I never even thought about
Yeah.
that people were not given that opportunity.
Right.
And I was like, wait a second, these people have not been adjudicated.
Right.
So if they haven't been adjudicated, so all these rights are still intact. Among them would be the right to vote.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But they just didn't provide
They
them
just
access
provide
to
them-
do it.
yeah.
Pastor Hobbs, you understand something? We'll grab this call and we'll get back to Erica.
No, I just want to
Okay,
say
go.
that's the importance of this station.
Right.
So we're encouraging people.
There's nothing
to-
like it out there.
Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing. And we need your support to continue to be on the air. So we're encouraging people to donate. You can go to Cash App, $Capital BPRTV. This is a time people are giving.
Right.
For the end of the
We
year.
just had a Giving Tuesday.
Yeah. And are you seeing people, like I know when we do the broadcast, people are saying, are you seeing people actually responding to that?
Yes.
Oh, good. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Because like I told folks, we are not looking for this to sponsor this. We are all set. MAMLEO pays for their time here. We're asking you to support this station
Right.
for others to be on this air. You know, not MAMLEO. We're playing our part to be here. We're asking you to support the other broadcasts.
Right.
And consider being a sustaining sponsor, like
Yeah.
a subscription. If it's
Yeah.
$5 a month, right? Like that's something that will just be steady but
Right.
consistent. It's literally $5,000 a month. That's what our bills are.
Right.
Right, and we're not paid. None of us
No.
are paid, right? So this is all. But in order for this platform to continue to be on the air, we cannot do it without you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right.
Let's grab this
And
call. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the roundtable. Caller, you there?
Yep. Good morning, brothers.
Oh,
How are you
good
guys?
morning.
Peace and
Good.
blessings.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Glad you could call
I mean,
in.
I love waking up on Saturday mornings listening to you guys.
Oh,
Sometimes I don't comment,
No,
sometimes I comment, but today's one of those days, where we got Brother Eric Kennedy on the line today. And let me tell you something about this brother. I want to say that I met this brother in 2017, and Kevin Sibley was the director of ORC. And that's when we connected, 2017 to 2025, I have gone through, like a seesaw, life, up and downs, And one of the things that I can truly say about this brother is that through many of my downfalls, this brother has never lacked to have been an inspiration. This brother not once has ever judged. This brother never once has ever looked at me any indifferent, like many who have in the past. People idolize and put people on a pedestal. They shouldn't, And when you don't live up to the expectations, to people's expectations, they're quick to down talk you and to look at you different,
Well,
And one of the biggest respect that I have for this brother is that he has been authentic, 1,000%, in his friendship, his commitment, and his ways of being an example that change is possible, and that it's only to the glory of a higher power. Whatever that higher power is to you, it's only to that glory.
Well, I think, Danny,
so-
what you're saying, and you're spot on, right? Because, again, I was just saying to Dr. Bradley, if someone had said that we would be having, when people feel like we've had different paths in our lives, and we're sitting here having this adult conversation, and people are, like yourself, you came a couple of weeks ago when people were still texting after you left saying, thank you, that was very inspirational. And even some of my colleagues, right, when they hear conversations like this, it helps them to humanize people that they're dealing with and have a little empathy and understanding that, wow, we can help with people as much as we can hurt, because our job is not punishment, right? And if we can do it in this arena and we can help in a positive way, this is what we should be doing. Because I tell people, anytime I've had to put handcuffs on someone, that's a failure. That's a failure. There's no victory lap, and anyone that sees it as that. Yeah. Let's grab these comments and we're gonna let Eric, because we got about 5 minutes. Danny, thank you, sir. We appreciate it. And like I said,
Danny.
we got to get both of you in here.
Appreciate
In the next broadcast. And Danny, I didn't forget you that I'm gonna give you a call. The young lady is dealing with some issues and she wants to schedule, but she wants to make sure she's got those under control. So,
All right.
I will
Thank you,
follow up.
brother.
Yep. Okay.
Looking forward to it. I'll be waiting.
Yes, sir.
So this is an announcement. On today here at Global Ministries Christian Church, we're having a community foot care day, serving our community with compassion and care, 1 foot at a time. Noyota, in partnership with Global Ministries Christian Church and the Community Development Association, this is going to be a toenail fungus, callus, foot pain, dry skin, edema, wounds. If you have any of these conditions, this is an initiative being offered by Community Service Day, not a replacement for professional practice, but both Pastor Karen and Pastor Bruce have Mrs. Tan and have personally benefited from her expert care. So today that's happening at Global Ministries Christian Church, 670 Washington Street, Dorchester, Mass. 02124, and that's from 12 noon to 6 p.m. So we're doing evaluations are every 15 minutes, first come, first
I was
served.
worrying about the gout. dog.
Well, yeah, you listed a lot of things. Yes.
I'm suffering from that, dog. I was like, oh, okay.
So, Eric, we've got a couple of minutes. Anything we didn't cover that you want?
I just also wanted to say that through Pastor Hobbs and being involved in different organizations, and a couple of years ago becoming the president of Mass Cure, which is a Citizens United Rehabilitation for Errants, and then it's an international organization. And just through the work that I do with event planning and stuff like that, and able to hire returning citizens, and I travel all over the country doing different events, and I can keep track of the people I hire, and I make sure that the returning citizens are a priority. And so far this year, I've hired over 567 returning citizens throughout the United States.
So what's next for Eric Kennedy? Because you've done a lot. What's next?
You know what? I take it day by day. When I
What
find
does that
that
day encompass?
waking up.
Waking up?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I found that when I try to plan, God has a different plan. So I was like, okay.
So you let God do the
Right,
planning, and
exactly.
you just do the reaction.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the Lord God planned for you one day to come out and speak to my class on corrections. I teach a course in corrections. I would like to have you come out and speak to them.
Sure.
And you be careful what you wish for, because he's going to tell you, I'm not listening to you.
Also, if you want to support me and my new book, you can go to www.eokennedy.com and you can purchase it from there.
And is it online?
It's
only?
online. I haven't gotten it into any stores just yet, but you can. It's on Amazon, Kobo, Barnes and Nobles, Google Books.
You should try our friend the Frugal
Frugal Bookstore.
Frugal Bookstore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure they would carry this there. They
Excellent.
definitely-
Small business, we've
Yeah.
supported. We've done some book
Mm-hmm.
fairs down there.
Jamal's friend, isn't it? Jamal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Pastor Hobbs, what's the Cash App again, please?
$capital BPRTV. $capital BPRTV.
Boston Praise Radio TV.
Yeah.
Call
And
it.
you have my Uber account, right, activated for this morning.
You can also go with WHB.
Or you can dig in your pocket.
This is the real cash without the app.
That's right. Eric, we got
But
about
thank you guys for having me, and it's always a pleasure being
We
with
look
the
forward to it.
brothers.
This is and that's why I tell people, Dr. Riley will contest. I think titles, what we, sometimes we acquire, but as men, as humans, is this is the type of things I enjoy more than any of the police crime scene. And that's just been a life experience, because those end at some point in time, but this will
Right.
go and continue to build, and that's really
Mm-hmm.
more important legacy than that. All right, folks. Eric Kennedy, author, friend, brother, same hairstylist,
Speaker.
speaker. Yeah.
So I look forward to working with you, brother.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yes.
Hey,
When,
same here.
Listening to At the Round Table with MAMLEO folks, I can tell you anything. Just try to keep warm and get
Yes,
ready for
brother.
those tax increases. And Dr. Bradley,
Be blessed.
Amen.
They say I am a dreamer, 'cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard. Hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle real hard, hustle so if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya, no, I came up from the bottom, always rooting for the unknown. I wrote 300 songs in 1 year, Boogie will tell you I'm on it. I got unreleased songs for days, they don't want it. Eat any MC in the game, it ain't a challenge. If your music reflects who you are, then you's a coward. I can see through the lies you ain't living what you spitting. If your money's so long, why your dog's in prison? Why your baby mom's stripping, why your mom's still living in that same broken home that you used to sell piffin'. You ain't gotta lie to me to sell me a track. You ain't gotta rock fake jewels or walk around strap. I respect artists getting money, but love them for spitting crack. And the fact that one track can move a family out the trap. It's a dream for us lost souls brought up in the mix. I'm motivated by the artists coming out in my midst. And the artists that paved the way when I didn't exist. Music's a skyscraper, I'm just trying to add a couple bricks.
This is for the dreamers. They say I am a dreamer. Cause I still believe that anything is possible as long as you work hard.
Hustle real hard, hustle real hard. Hustle real hard, hustle
So if I never see ya, never get the chance to meet ya, no, I came up from the bottom, always